Well, thank you, first off, to Toyota for inviting me. I spoke at the Digital Dealer event in Las Vegas back in September and met with several of the Toyota folks at that event and kept in touch, and they were gracious enough to invite me to come out and talk to you folks today about mobile marketing. A couple questions first, usually to kind of kick it off. And I've been doing mobile marketing now since a couple of months after the first iPhone launched, which was in fall of '07, so almost 8 years. How many people in this room don't have a cell phone? Okay, so when I asked the question when I started years ago, occasionally you get one or two hands. Most people had one even back then. And now I'll ask you, is there anybody in this room that didn't send or receive a text today? Okay, so again, 100%, right? So text message marketing, when we started, we would go into meetings and we would say, well, we're here to talk about mobile marketing, and people thought we were talking about, a billboard on the side of a van driving around town. Today, people understand that mobile marketing is a multifaceted array of tools that are out there. My company's specialty, though, is multimedia messaging, and that's what I'm mostly here today to talk to you about, using text to connect with people on the lot, on the couch, and everywhere in between. What is mobile messaging? When we say we work in text message marketing, what most people think about is SMS. SMS, as everybody probably knows, is limited to 160 characters. It's ASCII characters, so it, for example, doesn't support Spanish characters, only supports standard characters that you would see in English, for example. And here you see what Jack in the Box was sending 3 years ago before we convinced them to upgrade to full-time MMS, which you see across on the other side. SMS, 160 characters. Now, it does have the widest reach. It reaches 100% of phones in the US. By comparison, MMS reaches 50% of phones. So you're still reaching almost everybody that's out there, and honestly, you're reaching everybody who's most likely to text in to begin with, is going to have a phone that's on a carrier that's supported for MMS. MMS supports unlimited characters, which is why Jack in the Box is able to send a full page of information about the new item, where it's available, price and availability, that kind of thing, as well as the best practice language that's at the foot of the message. Everybody in this room, I'd encourage you to take your phone out and text Scott to 26262. What you're going to get is an MMS, a video MMS with my contact info in it. You're not opting in for anything. I'm not going to cold call you and try to sell you on. I'm simply giving you A, my contact info, instead of a slide at the end saying, please call me. And B, I want you to actually experience the technology the same way that you'd ask somebody to get in a car and drive around the block. There is no cost to consumers for data when it's delivered via MMS. So unlike sending somebody an SMS that says click here for more, most of you in the audience probably have a cell phone plan these days that has a cap on your data. And if you go above that, you need to pay for that. MMS doesn't have that liability. So if I send somebody 5 video messages a day from a client like Univision, there's no data cost to that consumer. But there is with a link in another kind of message. Let's see here. So upgrading to MMS now, most of the people in this audience are probably old enough to remember a decade ago or maybe 15 years ago when brands upgraded from text-only email to HTML email. And the reason that brands did that and marketers did that is because it's a much better tool. The same is the case with SMS. SMS is very limiting in terms of what you can do as far as the consumer experience goes. And so you see here several brands that have made the switch to either full-time MMS or close to it. MMS, again, is able to deliver a minute of video or a product image and unlimited characters to virtually any phone in the US. It supports also animated GIFs, which you see there from Starbucks, which is kind of hard to see, but it's a guy in a turkey suit riding a Razor scooter with a Frappuccino from Starbucks. The one above it was a cat that was sipping a Frappuccino as well. But as far as delivering content, it's hands down the best way that your dealerships are going to be able to send content to people. Pop quiz, how many Americans were on Twitter when they went public 1.5 years or 2 years ago? What percentage? Anyone? Yes? About 15%. 15% of Americans were on Twitter. Was that your guess? Oh, you're on Twitter. Oh, okay. 15%. So before I came up today, I Googled how many Americans are on Facebook. 58%. As of this past January. 58% of Americans are on Facebook. By comparison, again, everyone in this room has a cell phone. Everybody you know has a cell phone, and everybody they know has a cell phone. Everybody's on mobile. Opting people in. There are a lot of restrictions on what you can do with text. That is one of the challenges that our industry faces. But one of the easiest way to do it is just to let people know about it and let them activate via text. See, here you see calls to action, a pin pad at Toys R Us, which is very simple. It's on the pin pad, maybe at your service desk, that says, you know, text in Toyota to 12345, and we'll send you offers on your phone. Beside there's a front door clinger at Target, a counter card at Payless, shoes, a receipt from our client Staples, on pack from Frito-Lay, and then finally a TV spot from Kohl's. Any kind of a mix of these types of, and honestly, the counter card at Payless, a counter card by the register is the most effective placement you can have. It takes up the least amount of space. It's when people are killing time waiting for the salesperson to ring up their purchase, and it lets them activate directly from their phone, which is much less cumbersome than a website or some other way of activating. 5 reasons why text is so important. The average American has 4 email accounts. I mean, think about that. You've got work, home, other, and then a junk one that you use for signups online when you don't want to hear from that brand again, when you want to enter a contest or whatnot. But you just have one mobile number. A couple of years ago, you might have had a personal number and a work number, but today, everybody has one mobile number. You bring your own device to work, and the company maybe reimburses you if you're using it for work. One mobile number. Text has no spam filter. So unlike those 4 email accounts that each have a bulk filter, folder or spam filter of some sort, every text message is read. Think about your email account when you got up this morning. How many unopened emails, how many unread emails did you have waiting in there? A couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand, maybe more. Now, how many text messages haven't you read that are in your phone? Every text gets read. Written permission is required with text message marketing, which means that people actually had to go out of their way to opt in and continue receiving your messages without replying stop. They find it interesting, they find it useful, they find it beneficial, and they actually are engaged with the content you're sending them. 30% of Americans get a new email every year, which means your database every 3 or 4 years statistically is churning completely. Everybody is moving from one cable provider to one email host every couple of years. People now, since there's no roaming with cell phones, take their phone with them when they move. Their number doesn't change. 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, whatever it might be. And then finally, again, as I mentioned, people don't get new mobile numbers anymore. Sometimes when I meet with clients, they just want a number. You know, give me the number. What am I going to get for using text? This is the closest I could do because it's different for every client. But if you take your response from email and you multiply it by 6 to 8 times, that's a number that OfficeMax has published that they get from using SMS offers. When they send the same offer from email, that's the uptick, 6 to 8 times. Then when you upgrade to MMS and you can actually show a picture of the car in the ad instead of just talking about it, you're going to get a bump of 3 to 4 times above SMS. So sending a picture of the vehicle, sending a video of the car driving down the road is going to be a lot more effective than 160 characters or less. Legal stuff. I hope you can read this. It's a lot of info, and I hope I'm not going to bore you guys with this stuff, but I did think it was important to talk about the legal stuff that's involved with texting. You are required to get prior express written consent, which means that you have to get something in writing from the consumer before you can ever send them that first text, or you'll get sued, and you'll have to pay a lot of money. A text is considered written permission, so as long as you have that card on the counter next to the register and somebody texts Toyota 12345, that's considered written permission. But you can't have a salesperson take a phone number from somebody, jot it down on a pad of paper, and put it in the computer and consider that person opted in. You'll get in trouble for that. Call to action and the confirmation message must disclose that permission is not a requirement of purchase. So it's all the documentation when somebody's buying a car. You don't want to have a line in there that says, you know, hand us your, or put in your mobile phone number and check a box and we'll send you alerts, send you service offers. You'll get in trouble for that. Because eventually some of those numbers are going to be screwed up when they're put into the computer, and that person is going to get upset. The person who ends up getting your messages is going to get upset and complain, and again, you're going to get in trouble for it. Stop means stop. So if somebody ever replies stop to a message, you have to stop sending them. The one exception is we are now, per the FTC, able to send a confirmation message saying that you'll no longer hear from us. So there used to be this kind of gray area of, are you allowed to send that? Didn't I already tell you to go away? You are now legally allowed to send a confirmation that you've been opted out. If you opt somebody in via text, so they're texting Toyota to 12345, there is no requirement that somebody reply Y to confirm as far as the government requirements go. I always recommend to my clients that you still do. And the reason for that is because regulations are always changing. You don't want to later find out that part of your database, because they've kind of moved the lines as far as the regulations go, is no longer accessible. So it's always just a good idea to ask somebody to reply Y to confirm they really do want to keep hearing from you as far as recurring messages go. If you do have somebody opt in from IVR or the web or other kind of channel, you do absolutely need to ask for a reply Y. What we do with clients like Jack in the Box is actually have them reply with their zip. And that enables us to then target the messages not based on the phone number, So let's say somebody moved from Orange County, California, 714 area code, to the Bay Area, and they've now live in a 415 area. I'm not going to send them alerts based on Southern California anymore. I'm going to be able to target based on the zip code they provided for the market up here that they now live in, even though they've kept their mobile number and moved. Again, I mentioned it before, don't collect numbers via a handwritten form. Don't have anybody manually enter the numbers that are given to them by staff, and don't require it as part of the purchase. That is part of the TCPA that you're not allowed to do that. So what are brands in the automotive space doing with text? On the left up here, you see an example from Jiffy Lube. Their goal is to get you to go to their website. They want you to come to the site, so all they're doing is saying, hey, here's some cool stuff on our site, click here. They want to drive you to their site for Southern California, Jiffy Lube, and then have you print some offers and take them to your local Jiffy Lube store to redeem $5 off your oil change. In the middle, you see Harley-Davidson. This just happened. I've been following their alerts, their SMS alerts for the past probably 3 years, maybe 4 years. This MMS from them just arrived to my phone either yesterday or the day before. It's the first one they've ever sent. And that shows you, again, how a market that hasn't been doing this is gravitating towards this, where a marketer that has been sending SMS for 3 or 4 years and trying to drive store traffic, because all of their alerts typically are about, come in, we're doing a barbecue in the parking lot, come into the store, we're doing a discount on service, come into the store, we've got some new bikes, or we're doing a ride, out in the country this weekend. They're trying to engage with their audience. It's less about go to our mobile site and more about come into the store, we're going to do some cool stuff as a community. And then finally, for lead gen, they want you to text in, and then it's in some of their direct mail, some of their TV spots, some of their other marketing. It's lead gen. So you're going to get a message back that's going to say, please reply with your zip, or please reply Y to confirm you want to get recurring messages from Ford. And then they're just going to have somebody call you. They want, again, to use it as a lead gen via text. Some examples of what Toyota's already doing across the country via text. So these are from the Midwest. The first one was from the Chicago Auto Show. And somebody's texting RAV4 to a number, and they're getting a message back saying, click here and go to a site, enter your info, and you're in for a chance to win a car. The next two over were sports team integrations, probably promoted in venue at the sports arenas with the Colts and the Indians. In both cases, or in all three cases rather, they're again driving to a mobile site to collect a bunch of info and have those people entered for a chance to win a prize or free service or something like that. So how is mobile used on the lot by Toyota currently? I'm not sure if you guys have looked at the Monroney labels, but you've got a QR code here. I'm not a huge fan of QR. It has its place in the mobile marketing universe. In this case, the consumer experience is to drive you directly to a landing page for fueleconomy.gov, which tells me just a wide range of information about Priuses. So again, it's just targeting me to, or it's directing me to one page that's kind of all-encompassing about this model of car. Part of our job at Mercantile is to provide competitive analysis. What are the other guys doing and how can you improve your experience? And that's what I'm doing with this slide here. If you take a look at and compare what Ford is doing, they're actually including Economy Gov QR elsewhere on the Monroney label. On the bottom right of their Monroney labels, they actually have a QR and a text keyword. Now in this execution, I like the QR because it helps grab the consumer's attention and goes, oh, I've got something here that I can activate via mobile. I'm probably not going to dig through my phone and try to find that QR reader that I used 6 months ago that I installed and forgot all about, but I am going to text because I see very clearly there that says text to this number, to this shortcode number, and what I'm going to get now is a page that's the product page for this specific vehicle. Unlike the Toyota experience where I'm going to Fuel Economy Gov for a wide range of vehicles, integrated into the Monroney label is for that vehicle information about that vehicle. And now I'm able to not only request that that consumer reply Y to hear from me in the future, but I'm giving them detailed information on their phone about the specific truck I'm standing next to. This is the execution I'd recommend for Toyota. Toyota dealer site integration. So I'm using Toyota of Huntington Beach as an example because I'm from Southern California and live nearby them. But I'm sure a lot of your dealer sites probably have this functionality. I'm not sure if you know that it exists, but I'm sure if you pull up your site when you get back to looking at your computer later today, you'll probably find that send to mobile type functionality exists in your site from your vendors, from your internal teams. It's great that it exists, and I recommend that every site have it. I just would recommend a slightly improved consumer experience. In this case, what this dealership's vendor is doing is actually an email to a text address. So basically, you're asking somebody for their phone number and their carrier, which allows them to format an email and deliver it via text. What they get then is a URL, which isn't sexy, it isn't fun, it doesn't tell me a hell of a lot, and for a variety of other reasons, like not being carrier compliant, not including best practice language, and a variety of other reasons, shouldn't be used. If carriers find out about them doing this, they'll actually shut it down. Third-party sites do this as well. So here you see Cars.com and you see AutoTrader. They both offer send-to-mobile SMS experiences for their customers. What I would recommend anybody in this room do next time you're talking to AutoTrader and Cars.com, go, hey, it's great, I noticed this functionality in your site. When are you going to do this via MMS? Because I actually want to send a picture of the car and more information about the car from your site that I'm paying for. On the left, and I'd encourage you all to do this, text Prius to 26262, and what you'll get is a comparative example of a Prius video. This video was pulled from the Toyota of HB site. It's the kind of integration that we can do with your individual sites that'll pull from your CMS system a video or a hero image of that car and actually deliver it in an MMS to the consumer. Instead of just sending a URL, which Cars.com does, AutoTrader does a slightly better example here, where they send the name of the dealer, the price, the phone number, and a URL. Cars.com actually just sends the phone and I think a URL. Here you're able to actually send the miles, the color, that's certified, the stock number, phone number, name of the dealer, link to the product page online, and of course a link for the map, because we all want to know how to get there. So instead of making me go through some other kind of map application, just putting in the address into the message lets somebody click it immediately and go there, or click the phone number and call them. It's much more effective. The same dealership has another text integration, and again, your sites probably have this, maybe some, maybe don't. What this enables people to do is actually text a question. So I open up this little pop-up window. It's actually, instead of this execution, which asked me for a carrier and came in via email from send-to-mobile at www.yada, yada, yada, this one actually does come in from a short code, 45555. It does include some practice language right here, stop and help and all that good stuff, which is an improvement. On the downside, it's a short code that's attributed to Cucci Ford. So when you text info to the number that they're saying the messages are going to come from on toyotaofhb.com, it actually is branded Cucci Ford. I wouldn't want that if it was my dealership. Having a short code that's just for Toyota's use, I would recommend across all dealerships. But this is invaluable. The same way that anyone who texted in Scott to 26262, my phone in my pocket was pinging. This message, when it comes in, can immediately be delivered to your sales manager, and then that person can forward on to the salesperson that he wants to follow up on that lead. Activating via national television. Macy's was my first client 7 years ago. Clients, when I meet with them for the first time, will sometimes say, well, how do we know text works? This is how. Would you still be, how many people in this room are still spending a lot of their day working on MySpace? Okay, you're just not, right? Because nobody's on MySpace anymore. You wouldn't still be using text after 7 years like Macy's and other retailers and other brands are if it wasn't working. They're running this in national spots because people are showing up with a coupon delivered after sending text to MACYS, which is 62297 when you punch it into your phone. Word about short codes. So back in the day, having a short code that spelled Toyota or Mazda or Chevy or Ford was the thing to do. And then brands like Simon figured out that when you spell Simon via text, it has 666 in the number, or the numbers are just hard to remember. A better bet today is, back up a little bit. Okay, you can't really see it, but 747474 for Payless Shoes, 555444 for Staples. Having a repeating number short code is still a vanity, so like Scott to 26262 or something like that is easier to implement. It's easier to remember. It's easier to punch in when you've seen it on a call to action on the side of a bus going 40 miles an hour down the road while you're on a bench with your friends. Activating via local television. So let's say you're not running national spots, you're running local TV, you're working with KTVU, which uses our platform, by the way, and you're doing a local ad buy. And maybe you want to do some kind of promotion through the local station. What about a watch and win? So you do something like this that we did with The Office.
I hate disappointing everyone, but I love Burlington Coat Factory. You go in there, $645, you are literally a king.
Play the Office That's What She Said sweepstakes for a chance to win $10,000. Text today's word of the day to 64718 or enter it at theofficethat'swhatshesaid.sweepstakes.com. We're giving away $10,000 every weekday until April 2nd. All you have to do is tell us the word of the day. Today's word is cat.
Clinically proven Mederma lets you do something about your...
So a promotion like this, I think we ran it for 3 weeks. It ran every day at 3 o'clock or something like that during afternoon syndicated programming of The Office. And you're going to get, on a national scale, several 100,000 people. Even on a local scale, you're going to get tremendous reach. People are going to do this from the couch. It's a good execution. A better execution, instead of someone texting Toyota to 12345 for a chance to win a prize, or the word of the day, cat, that they saw on a watch and win, which again, those are both good tools, and to use them in rotation with other tactics is a great idea. Picture yourself in a new Toyota. So maybe you're already doing some of this kind of stuff with other types of social media, having somebody take a picture of themselves on the lot. So instead of maybe taking a test drive, show up at the lot, take a picture next to the vehicle with a salesperson, and text it in for a chance to win a prize. Free oil changes for a year, or a new car, or cash, or whatever it might be. But this actually gets people off the couch and onto the lot, because you're requiring that they show up. Somebody earlier, I don't know if it was Matt or Renee, but somebody had mentioned having somebody out of market, interacting with in your lead gen process. This makes sure that doesn't happen. Somebody isn't going to show up at a dealership in South San Francisco unless they're actually from the area and do this. Chevy, for example, has done something similar to this a couple times. They do scavenger hunts. They put a car around town, and you have to actually go find the car, and they'll text out tips to where it is. You have to take a picture of the car. You have to text in the license plate or code that's on the window for a chance to win it. Maybe they do them on the dealership, so 3 or 4 dealerships in a group. Actually, they'll hunt from store to store to find the right vehicle. Once you've built a database, then you want to start broadcasting offers. You want to send an offer. The average retail frequency is 1 message every 10 days. So that's 3 per month. Broadcast clients like Univision will send 4 or 5 a day, but that's breaking news. It's talking about what Obama said, or a crash, or an explosion, or whatever it might be, breaking news type stuff. You're never going to have that frequency with retail. Even sending 1 a week is a push, because unless you're sending somebody something that they need that week, they're going to get bored after a while and opt out. So what you want to do is start light and then eventually turn up the dial a little bit on the frequency, and then when people start opting out in greater numbers, dial it back a bit. The MMS platform can target based on the keyword that people have entered, so save, join, offers, coupon, whatever it might be. We can also target based on area code, handset type, carrier, and other specifics. If we've collected date of birth, zip, other metrics for that consumer, we can target based on that. We can also do geo-targeting, but it won't work because it requires a third level of permission that most consumers don't provide. So when you install that app for Yelp or something else and you walk around town, they've asked for permission one time to do 15 things that are in that list that nobody reads. I can't do that via text. Somebody texts in Toyota, I send them a message back saying, please reply yes. They do, and then I have to ask again, can I send you offers based on where you're walking around town today? Most people don't say yes. And even if they did, it's comparatively expensive. A better bet is to simply say, please reply with your zip for offers in your area. Service integration. So most of your dealerships probably can target emails to people based on their service history. You can do this via text too. We simply provide a pipe. Your CRM systems can let somebody know when it's time for an oil change or time for a 30,000-mile checkup or whatever it might be. We can send them the similar content via MMS. So it's got an image that blows up. It's got a list of details, price, availability, a phone number to call for Fred and service to set up an appointment this weekend. Text break to 26262 if you want to sample what that might look like on your phone. Third-party text alert ads. Who here's a sports fan? Baseball, anything? Yeah, great. So MLB, Major League Baseball, all of their alerts nationally are sponsored by AM/PM. You might have noticed if you get an alert from the MLB, a text alert, it says sponsored by AM/PM. Now sometimes it won't fit and they'll leave it off, but whenever there's room for sponsored by AM/PM, it says sponsored by AM/PM. Here you see examples. I hope you guys can read this, but all 4 of these on the left are for a, I want to say it's a station in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. It says, driven by your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. So all 4 of those SMS alerts from that TV station are sponsored by a Honda dealership in that market. All of your local media partners the Oakland A's, KTVU, the Chronicle, they all do text alerts for news, weather, traffic, sports, or other type of content. If there's room remaining in the 160, they might put in a call to action for your Toyota dealership if you know to ask. So make sure that your media buying teams ask. The one here in the middle is sponsored by Hatfield Kia. And it says, we'd love to see you in a new Hatfield Kia. And that one's from Columbus, Ohio, I believe. Here in the middle, we have an MMS, an image MMS from Univision. So earlier today, we heard about how important Hispanic marketing is. Univision's a client of ours. About 1 of every 5 or 10 messages they send out has a sponsor message. You should be sponsoring those messages. Video MMS. So we're able to deliver 1 minute of video. There's no reason that you can't put 15 or 20 seconds of ad ahead of that. Even 10 seconds, if the station will let you only do 10 seconds. 10 seconds is still going to be a huge benefit to your dealership because there's 5,000 or 10,000 people getting daily news alerts from the station in the market that you're in. They're reading every one. If they weren't, they'd reply stop and opt out. And unlike an online ad where somebody's going to go away and do something for a minute, they're going to mute it while their 30-second ad is running ahead of that CAD video on YouTube or whatever it might be, this is 10 seconds. And it's ahead of the weather alert that they want to know what the weather's going to be like today or this weekend. And then finally, one here, another example from Subway, talking about a new sandwich, or new salad, rather. Here's that example blown up, and I wanted you guys to actually see what the video embedded experience is like.
Stahl is Pittsburgh's only true 24/7 plumbing company. Give us a call or go to stahlplumbing.com. You have one call. Make it Stahl.
I didn't notice.
Severe
Couple
weather,
minutes.
Team 11, your weekend always in view. A warm start to the weekend. Just some more clouds coming late day Saturday. Sunday's high temperature back to 72. We will include scattered showers and an isolated storm.
So again, including a pre-roll ahead of a video that's talking about news, weather, traffic, sports. Talk to your local media partners about it. If they can't do it, tell them to give me a call and I'll do it for them, and then you can benefit from it. If they can do it, or maybe they're not thinking about doing it, tell them you want it. A couple of the stations that we work with actually do like local high school updates, sports updates, what the football team did at the big high school locally. Like let's say you're in Fresno or Sacramento or Market, find out what the local teams are doing, if they have this kind of thing, if the local stations are creating this type of content, great, try to sponsor it. If they're not, offer to sponsor it if they'll create it and send it out. Takeaways. So I burned through it a lot faster than I thought I would. First one, of course, is upgrade to MMS. So if you are looking at doing any kind of text or you've been doing some kind of text, look at the potential of upgrading to MMS. It's a much better tool for your business. Leverage mobile messaging whenever possible. So again, talk to your media companies, your media partners, talk to your vendors, your Cars.com, your Auto Trader, your website vendors. Look at your marketing partners as far as, like I said, stuff that they can invent that leverages text that you can benefit from. Grow your audience. The number one thing you can do is put, like I said at the outset, put a counter card next to the service desk and have people text in offers to 12345 and send out a periodic offer for $5 off an oil change. It will get people into your dealership. It's inexpensive and it works. And then finally, measure, refine, and re-engage. Try it. See if it works. Maybe some of you have tried text in the past. Maybe it went away. Maybe it was the wrong partner you used. Maybe it was the wrong time. I don't know, but I can tell you that I've been doing this for almost 8 years, and it's because it works, and clients keep signing up because customers keep signing up, showing up at the door. And that's all I got.
Scott, thank you very much. Great job. Good information. Appreciate that.